It's going to be all right. Welcome to FaBled Hunters. I'm your NGM Saint, and you're going to be like, we're going to talk about the long game.
Okay.
Do we both want to say the long game? Or
No. It's so cringe when I don't like it when like two people talk at the same time.
The Magi?
Yeah, I hate it.
Oh, okay. Do we want to delete this part or? All right. Welcome to FaBled Hunters.
I'm Yanji,
I'm Saint.
and today we're going to be talking about the long game.
So I think that things have developed as we've progressed in this channel, and it started out as a hobby channel. I always didn't want to make it about TCG finance, although ultimately, I think Renji, you keep bringing up that might be my biggest asset that I could potentially contribute to the community.
Yeah, well, it's not that it's like your biggest asset, but it's just I think it's something that it's a topic that you've had a lot of experience with.
Yep.
Kind of starting up, building up your Magic collection to a point where you can to kind of like cycle it in and then further fuel your hobby.
Yep.
It's not like, even though I think everyone knows you're wealthy, but you're not.
Okay. Yeah.
But wealthy people don't just like endlessly like dump like money into like a pit and then just like nothing.
No. And it was always a pattern. I mean, the God honest truth is that I never wanted to monetize flesh and blood in the short term, but TCG monetization and the secondary market considerations, that's part of everybody's calculus when putting in penny number one into TCGs. And it starts even from the first day you walk into your local game store and you're paying, I don't know what it costs anymore, but let's say $12 for a booster draft.
Yeah.
Some places in the city, I think it's $15, some places $20, but not everywhere is NYC. But let's call it $12. You're thinking about what you're opening. You're looking at your rares, your mythics, in Fab they call it majestics, or legendaries, fabled. And you're definitely rare drafting that. You're rare drafting the cold foil. You're saying, let me make my money back. There's, I put in X dollars. I want to get out X dollars.
Yeah.
Or I want to get out X packs that leads to X dollars.
I think it's one thing that's unique about the hobby. That's why people are willing to put down like hundreds to maybe like even like $1,000+ for a deck.
Yep.
Knowing that, like, let's say if you were doing any other hobby, if you're just going to go like play sports, whatever, you buy like the cost of like a pair of shorts, a ball, you will go see a movie, just pay the $20, whatever.
You like board games?
Board games are also kind of getting up there in price nowadays.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you buy the cards, let's say you buy all the legendaries, and I think James White even said this originally during, I think, one of our interviews, I think before Monarch, like that's something like special about TCGs where like you buy like a legendary, you get to use it for like however many years that you are spending,
or potentially forever.
Yeah, that you're spending playing the deck. But then also like he wanted to like make it so that like that piece of cardboard holds value and doesn't just like whatever.
Does not become redundant.
Yeah, but I think like the whole point of this video series is like we understand that a hobby is an expensive hobby. So in order to get from point A to point B, in order to be able to like fuel your journey through TCGs, there's certain things that you can do. There's certain behaviors that you can do that will help you make it like an easier process.
Of course. And for me, even going back to my high school days, I mean, I remember being 14 years old and having direct exposure to the TCG game, to the monetization of MTG at the very least. And that's what subsidized my teenage years for a good portion. Just to kick it off, I remember there being Fallen Empires cards, Ice Age, the Dark, and a lot of people not valuing the rares and the uncommons back then. And just step one, I'm not suggesting anybody to monetize this way today in 2022, but for me, monetization in 1994 meant maybe taking out a Mox Ruby, a limited Mox Ruby that was probably market value $50 in your mint back then, and creating 500 $1 repacks and throwing in 25 cent or bulk or chafe rares from Fallen Empires or Mirage or whatever alliances back
Yeah,
then.
people still do that.
Huh?
People still do that.
Oh, I know they still
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that, but now it's got such a stigma to it. Like
Yeah,
in '94, it was innovative,
yeah,
you know.
I think it depends. This video that we're doing right now is going to be the first entry, but and it's going to be like the only free entry.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start using the YouTube. I think it's called YouTube. It's
Some
not
sort of subscription.
It's not called
service.
subscription. It's called like YouTube. I forget.
We'll clarify it in the in editing.
Yeah, service where you can pay like a monthly subscription to our channel, and then I think we're committing to making 2 entries every month.
Yep.
And then the price point, we're still trying to figure out what's a fair price point.
It's gonna be sub $5.
Yeah, under $5 per month. And the focus of these videos is going to be primarily on I guess our experiences in monetizing. Which aspect of monetizing TCGs, and how maybe you can also emulate or figure out things that you can do based off of hearing from our experiences.
And we will, within reason, do our best to respond to those comments and give transparent feedback or draw from our own personal experiences on how we monetized, how we found solutions, how we saw opportunity. And I will not be taking any of the proceeds. The proceeds will be going towards Renji's Flesh and Blood quest to travel the world and become more than just the EU champ. As of right now, he's the European champion, and you're staring down some really significant trips, right?
Yeah.
Singapore, Utrecht.
Yeah.
France.
Yeah. So I think like in our first kind of like installment, let's talk about like the costs of what it takes to become like a tournament player.
Okay.
And how it is that you can kind of like fund that process. So right now, I grinded MTG, I think between 2013 to 2015 pretty aggressively, meaning that I would travel, I would go on flights every weekend or every other weekend. And then so each trip costs around like minimum like $300-400 for the flight, plus like $200 for the hotel, let's just say. Plus whatever the entries are, like $100.
Okay, so 600 plus.
Yeah, so you're spending $600-700
plus food, right?
And what you're getting back in permanent winnings is probably like $200 on average if you do like decently at Magic GPs. And so in order to like continue to like fund this, there's like you have to kind of find a way to like bridge the gap. And there's a lot of things that you can do. So in one of our recent videos, we had like Team Oaken Olds. They came to the Pro Tour.
That's right. Yeah.
And they sold
the swag.
Yeah. And so I think that's kind of like the first thing that Flesh and Blood as a game is in the position, at least at this stage in the game, where a lot of the promotional items that they're giving out have a lot of value.
Of course.
And I think part of the reason why they have value right now is because they're not like really like overprinting them.
Yeah, they're very scarce.
That's like one of the things that you should kind of look at when you're kind of determining whether or not it makes sense for you to like sell the promos, hold on to them, collect them, etc. Well, we can talk, for example, a counterpoint is in Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
GP promos originally, when I was playing competitively, I think you could get like a Batter Skull or like a Stoneforge Mystic, and those were like kind of like very key cards at the time. And I think even though, for example, the GP Stoneforge Mystic wasn't worth that much when it first came out because it wasn't legal, as soon as they unbanned it, I think that card went up to like maybe like $100-200.
Yeah, that's significant.
And just for entering the tournament, that's like you getting from the tournament organizers like $100-200, just like for participating.
And when you joined the competitive circuit of Magic the Gathering, it was already pretty late. Like it was already a mature competitive market.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, it was definitely very established already.
Okay.
And so I think even at that point in time, they still made promotional items that were worth like a decent amount. Yeah.
And just to draw that back and to make the parallel, because people, some viewers are like, MTG history has nothing to do with how Flesh and Blood is. I was there in '94. I competed in '94. I competed at regional events. I competed at Pro Tour qualifiers. And the ladder, so to speak, was not as sophisticated as it's become in the post 2000, post 2020 era.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I could walk into a local game store. There could be 16 people max, and that's a lot, competing to play Magic the Gathering. And like the top 4 spots would literally get like Legends packs, like MTG Legends packs, the same Legends packs that they're selling for $1,500 a pack today. Those were the prizes at the local game store. I remember going to like a significant regional at Neutral Ground and getting first place there, and I was getting half a box of Legends, 94 Legends, whereas 2nd through 8th were splitting the other half of the box, and like the prizes were really, really substantial. I would say scale that down to today. Well, let's fast forward to Fab today. Your rewards are worth significantly more than what a Legends box was worth in 1994, 1995, right? Because a Legends box in 94, 95 was $60. Now, even at a small event, so to speak, like even in today, even in the recession that we're facing, a gold foil, any old gold foil, is $600 to $800 US, right? Whereas a box of currently printed first edition X is $80, right?
Yeah, and so I think this is like the first aspect of monetizing, at least if you're trying to become like a tournament player, is something that you can look at, where if you understand that there's a collector demand for these items, that maybe it means more to you to be able to travel to like another like 1 or 2 tournaments. Than it would to just like hold on to these like collector items.
If you look at the video that was in May, throughout the Pro Tour videos, as well as the trade video itself, I think Pablo said the same thing. The Oakenold said the same thing. Wyatt and Jack also said the same thing. All they want to do is play more. I believe even Sean from England, I think his name was Sean from England, with the Rampart, the gold foil Rampart. He was like, I just want to sell you this gold foil Rampart. Yeah, it's a cool card, but I want to finance my Fab journey. Right? And that's all of their goals. So the players and the collectors, that's a very symbiotic dynamic, right? The collectors are fulfilling that demand. They're backfilling that demand. They're like, hey, we want this scarce stuff. The players are like, well, the cash money is not enough per se to help me fund and continue, my whole tournament journey. I just want to win, play more, get better, and hopefully place higher or continue to place at my next events.
Yeah, and then I think it's a really good point that you're talking about, like symbiotic relationships. So I think oftentimes, I haven't made a lot of comments about this on this channel, but when I see people talking about like, oh, Flesh and Blood is a player's game, or they need to like not care about the players and just like cater to the collectors or whatever, I think James White and LSS really understand that that it's a mutual existence.
Exactly.
That having a really strong collector scene, having a really strong casual scene, having a really strong competitive scene, all of these aspects kind of help each other. So having a lot of people playing the game makes it so that these cards are worth collecting, and having collectors makes it so that the players can fund their journey, like going to play and to get better at the game themselves.
Yes. I mean, just like Pablo had his big check, I believe that the check for the Pro Tour for first place alone was $25K cash. To subsidize that or even multiply that through his liquidation of his prize, he still kept the trophy, which, that's his symbol. That's symbol enough of his win, plus all the footage. He sold the card, and there you go. You're multiplying your cash winnings. Just like even at the Battle Hardened, I think Jack, I think he won it at, maybe it wasn't a Battle Hardened, maybe it was a Pro Quest or something, the Arcanite Skullcap gold foil. Should have been from the...
I think probably like a Battle Hardened, like maybe like Leeds or not Leeds, like some Battle Hardened. They held a bunch of Battle Hardens in Europe.
And then the first place prize was the Arcanite Skullcap.
Yep, that's correct.
So I believe that's how he got it. And just by placing first, it's like, there you go. There is at least, I would venture to say, a quarter, like 3 months of travel expenses and entry expenses and hotel expenses. There you go. You can have X more attempts to win more prizes and gain more experience and place high. So they are definitely intertwined and correlated.
Yeah.
I will agree, though, that as of recently, due to whatever's been going on in the market, it does feel like the collector's market is a little weaker.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'd say they're still around. Yeah, sure. Maybe the gold foils for what is it, ProQuest Season 2? Maybe they're not moving for 1,500 or 2,000 like when they were really, really hot.
Yeah.
ProQuest Season 1. But ultimately, they're still, a buyer of last resort if somebody needs to scoop up the 250 gold foils.
And that's where kind of like understanding the market forces is like really important.
Yep.
So I think we can just talk about the ProQuest gold foils as kind of an example. So I remember when the ProQuest gold foils first came out, and I was deciding whether to make the decision. Like a lot of people were asking, how much do you think like these are worth? Should you sell it? Should you not sell it? Etc. To like hold on to it for long term. And I think that if you're like of the mindset, if you have like I guess like the liquidity to like hold on to these like cards for I don't know like decades,
yeah,
then sure, like you can hold on to it and probably you're gonna get like a pretty good ROI. But when you think about, you also have to consider the fact that why is it that people want these promotional cards? So, of course, there's some people who just like want to collect like one of everything.
Yeah.
But then I think for a lot of the reason why people want like maybe like a swagged out like Findale Spring Tunic,
yeah,
or they want like an Arcanine Skull Cap
because they're playable.
Yeah, like these are the items that are the most expensive.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of identify like why that is. And so I think when you have like when you get the gold foil from the ProQuest, of course we didn't know that ProQuest Season 2 was going to be the same gold foils as ProQuest Season 1.
It's a little womp, but
yeah, but I think that it makes sense when you consider like the entire ecosystem, like the collector pool that's like buying into your cards isn't like this like endless like vat of money. And so I don't think that it's a smart bet to expect that like your promos are just gonna like forever like in perpetuity or just like increase in price like linearly.
Okay.
You have to be a little bit more realistic with your expectations. So when people were asking me like, like how much, I think it's like you count how many ProQuests there are in the world. These are all things that you need to kind of like take into consideration, right?
Of course.
Like how many ProQuests there are in the world, how many different cards there are, what the chances of getting like each like individual card is, and like does it make sense for LSS to like does it make sense for the market to bear continually like $1,000 rewards for these there's going to be like 400 or 500 tournaments.
I would say
I mean?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I would say that in conjunction with that mindset, you just mentioned it best. ProQuest Season 1 had about, I think, reported 250 rewards total.
Yeah. And
there were something like between 15 and 20 different cards. Let's just say around 15, and it was like close to, call it 15 times 15 different cards. So each gold foil, people in their mind thought there would be a population of roughly 15. In Season 2, the gold foils would be something different. They would rotate out.
Yeah.
And those 250 gold foils, of which each one only got printed 15 times, that was it.
Yeah.
That's why people were like, you know what? $1,000 seems to make sense.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, with outside of the macroeconomic global economy conditions, you've got people essentially saying, you know what? The population just doubled. So these very same gold foils can't maintain that price point.
Or even tripled. I think there's like 400 something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Season 2.
So there's more supply. And even if demand was the same as before, because there's more supply, the pricing goes down. So the same people that are like, oh, I won last season, I got $1,000 guaranteed.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It's not $1,000 anymore. It's closer to $500 or $600.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I'm buying the open ones at, call it $500 to $700. I'm buying sealed ones at $700 to $850 right now, and that's usually because the people posting at $800 to $1,500 to $2,000, whether they're open or sealed, they're not experiencing any success selling them because of what you just said, because the supply essentially tripled. Now you take it back and you say, hey, why do people value this? Why do people still why are people still willing to pay 500 plus?
Yeah, exactly.
When a Dawnblade promo from WTR is called 150 bucks, right? But those Dawnblade promos in WTR, I'm guessing hundreds, maybe 1,000 of them were printed, right? Whereas even now, even if you triple that first assumption of Dawnblade ProQuest Gold Foil, you're thinking about 50 copies after season 2.
Yeah.
Right? And hey, LSS is within their right to print more gold foils. But I think there's enough new gear coming out that it's unrealistic to think that Dawnblade is going to, reach parity between the gold foil and the WTR promo gold foil versions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like the bringing in the idea that there's like new gear, and so I think that's like where you as a person who's like interested in like participating in the space kind of have to do a little bit of your own research and also like make some bets, make some assumptions.
Of course.
On like what do you think like the LSS's like strategy is for reprinting or printing like new versions of these promos, and I think the point of this video isn't necessarily to like FUD like gold foils, but I think
it's economically sound so far what we're talking about.
But I think it's to help you as like a player also like kind of create a way for you to make like a grading scale when you're trying to decide not necessarily not sending in grading, but like when you're evaluating, I want to hold on to this promo versus I don't want to hold on to this promo, or I like help you determine what you think like a fair price is to ask for.
Absolutely. Not only that, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I would say that once we started revealing the gold foils and the potential risks of damage, of wear and tear, of the gambler's premium, and the removal thereof when you actually open the gold foil sealed package.
Yeah.
Ever since that content has been released, I think the market has also come to that conclusion like, whoa, either we're going to film it and make it a momentous event, or the winners are starting to leave their gold foils sealed because they're like, wait a minute, it's not really that important to me. The EV of opening this gold foil is probably going to result in lower than if I keep that gambler's premium embedded in the sealed product and sell the sealed product and let the eventual buyer, gain the 1 in 15.
Yeah,
right? Similar to what you were saying, your thesis about your Findall Spring Tunic gold foil. But now there's variety and there's a much larger fluctuation of wins and losses.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have more of these kinds of discussions.
Of course.
That are going to be focused a little bit more on kind of just like being able to like fund your TCG hobby. And the reason why we're going to put it behind a paywall is because I think it's a little bit different from our normal like style of videos.
Yeah.
What we're focused on. And
we will talk about a lot of different things. I think funding your TCG journey or funding your competitive organized play journey, that's more of a Renji thing, right? Let's face it. I just play for fun and I'm no good. I can't put in the time anymore.
No, we got the same number of wins at the first fight.
Yes, I'm equal in that way.
Yeah.
And are you looking forward to the calling in Vegas?
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see how many wins we each get there. There's some friendly competition there. But I would say that in the future, as far as I'd like to contribute, I'd like to talk about my journey, not so much as a teenager, but my journey coming back into TCG collecting, TCG monetization, and the mindset of what you should do with the TCG collection, and the different aspects of monetization, even interacting with markets internationally, because there's disparity in each market. It's very different. Supply and demand are different in every market. And I'm even going to break down and analyze some of my pretty sizable TCG purchases and how they netted out. So please stay tuned. Please let us know in the comments below whether this type of content will be helpful to you. And hopefully the viewers that appreciate it want to join us on this journey and talk about how we can help financially sustain this hobby. All right? Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. That's it for now, guys.
Bye.
Bye.